Welcome to Screen Riot. This week's movie is Enemy at the Gates, a war film from 2001. This episode will contain major spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, it's available to stream on Amazon Prime and Hulu, or to rent for $2.99. So go ahead and go check out the movie, because this is Screen Riot. So, like we said in the opening there, this movie review is going to be on Enemy at the Gates, and this was because it was landed on me as the picker, I guess you could say.
Selector.
The selector.
Selector.
I like that.
Please.
Yeah, I like that word better. So the picker was me, and my genre was war, which this actually, full disclosure, this wasn't my first choice of war movie, but since we're going to go with whatever IMDb and Rotten Tomato genres a movie, my movie wasn't considered a war in those sites' eyes, I guess you could say.
What was it?
It's called The Underground.
Okay.
It's a German film, so it's actually called Der Untergang.
Okay.
It's about like Hitler's last remaining days in his bunker kind of thing, and how he kind of goes like batshit crazy.
Okay.
And have you seen those videos where they overlap the subtitles to Hitler talking to everybody in his bunker?
Where he's in front of that map and he goes crazy.
Yes, I have.
That's that movie.
That's from that movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's actually a really good movie.
But it's not a war movie.
But they don't
even though it's
consider
about
it a war
Hitler
movie, yeah.
And World War II.
Yeah.
And okay. Well, I could see. I mean, so they probably put it as what, a drama and biopic or something.
Yeah, it's like history, drama, and something
Gotcha.
else. Yeah.
So because of that, you chose Enemy at the Gates.
So because of that, I chose Enemy at the Gates, which is a movie I've always really liked.
Yeah.
This is probably, I don't know, my fifth or sixth time seeing it. Probably even more than that. Now
I was
that
going
I
to
think
say
about it.
That's quaint for a movie you like. That's 5 or 6 times, huh? That's it. Okay.
Third, maybe.
Third, Kyle.
Maybe second.
Okay.
51st, 53rd, something like that. It's a gun movie, so I get off on just talking about the movie itself. You know what I mean? In fact, I'm going to take a break here in a minute, which I normally don't do during Screen Riot, but I am going to go grab something here in a minute and come back and show you guys some things.
Nice.
So
Okay.
we'll do that here in a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
So you
So
have Vasily Zaitsev's rifle?
I mean, I might. You never know, right?
It's impossible.
I
The
know.
movie said at the very end
Yeah.
that the rifle is actually in Stalingrad in the museum.
Which
Yeah.
that would be pretty cool to see.
It belongs in a museum.
Yeah, think of Indiana Jones.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So you want to tell the synopsis of it?
Oh, I wasn't ready for that.
Well, I mean,
No, it's okay. I mean, it's basic, right? Like it
Yeah,
tells the
it's
story of Vasily Zaitsev.
Yeah, it's about a young a young soldier who signs up for, or I guess he gets oppressed.
He gets enlisted.
Enlisted.
Or drafted, basically.
Drafted,
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
that's the word I
drafted to
was
join
looking
the
for.
military as
Yeah.
a regular infantryman,
Right.
and then luckily, I mean, ends up basically being stuck in a fountain, like under a bunch of dead bodies, with Commandant Commissar Joseph Fiennes, whose name
Dalinov.
there you go, Dalinov, whose name I can never remember.
Danielov, I think, yeah. But they strike a friendship and
Kill a few German soldiers over that friendship to begin.
as
Yeah.
friends do.
And to me, that's the best part of the film right there.
That was that initial shot. Those initial shots?
Those initial 5 kills that Vasily gets. To me, that whole scene,
I agree with that.
That's the best part of the whole movie, huh?
in my opinion.
Okay.
That and the very end, obviously.
Okay.
There's a bunch of scenes that I really enjoy.
Yeah,
in
so
this.
do I.
Like I do like that scene in the fountain, and how he utilizes the sound effect of the mortars going off
Yeah.
and everything to hide the sound of his rifle going off is pretty clever.
Well, then after that scene is when the Commissar Danilov speaks with Bob Hoskins, who is Khrushchev, or Khrushchev, and basically gets him to put Vasily into the sniper division. And then that's when Vasily Zaitsev gets to learn how to become a sniper and all that stuff. And then that's where you get the rest of the scenes that I believe Justin's about to go into the next one that he likes, which is which scene?
Well, I mean, it's just Ed Harris to me
Yeah.
really steals this movie.
I
He does. I agree.
Yeah.
He's badass in this movie.
That is the perfect casting. While I was watching this again for this show, I was trying to think of other people who might play that role better, and I could not think of one.
I've got one who's not necessarily better, but similar would be, I can't remember the actor's name. It's the guy from Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. He played Death. He was in Die Hard 2. He was the general.
I thought you were going to
colonel.
mention Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves would be a great.
No.
It's the guy from. He was also in Die Hard 2. He was the lead bad guy in Die Hard 2. Shit.
I think Tommy Flanagan would actually be a good one too.
Tommy Flanagan. Who?
Yeah, he's an Irish actor, but he was the one guy in Sons of Anarchy. He was the Irish gun runner.
Oh, okay, I know who you're talking about.
That, but kind of Ed Harris lookalike.
Well, William Sadler. That's who I'm talking about from Die Hard 2. He was Death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. He just had a bald head.
He could have. He looked. Well, he's German, didn't he?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he would have fit the part.
He'd fit the part. He'd have the ability to do it.
It's one thing that I kind of.
Oh, apparently he's American, by the way. I thought he was German too.
Is he?
No, he has that. He does that voice in Bill and Ted's. He's like,
he's good.
Mess with the Viva, like he does that shit. But apparently he's an American guy.
Yeah.
Just put on an accent.
Now I just don't understand. Some of the Germans, they talked in like British accents and they talked in American accents. It's like, and same with the Russians too. It kind of takes me out when they don't even like try. They just talk like you got some dude from Kentucky as a high ranking Russian, commandant or something like that. It's like what's going on here?
So that typically, I agree with you. That a lot of the older movies that were British actors all doing like World War II stuff, a lot of them did the same thing. And I kind of see where you're going with it. I think it depends on how they do the movie. If they do the movie like I think Schindler's List did this, where it starts out in German and then it kind of morphs into being American, being English, I should say. It doesn't bother me nearly as much. Whenever they just start out like this movie did right from the beginning with all American, all English, I should say.
Yeah.
That's whenever it gets, it does take me out a little bit.
And with Rachel Weisz, she's totally British
Yeah.
in this movie, but it's like, but you're Russian.
Yeah, you're supposed to like pretend that she's speaking Russian. Yeah,
I guess.
I get it.
I mean, Ed Harris was chosen for this, well, and Jude Law, I should say, because of their expression and their eyes that they can convey.
Yes.
That the director wanted to handpick these two for these two roles, which is kind of interesting when you think about it. Yeah, it's a sniper movie. You're going to be focusing on, camera shots on eyes and stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
So you're going to want an actor who can portray emotion.
There was one
Through
shot,
their eyeballs.
with the eyes and everything that I really noticed. It was when Ed Harris was in the that big steel factory, and he was actually in the steel room, I guess, hiding behind the blinds or whatnot.
Yeah, that
and he was like
flue or
looking,
whatever.
He was like looking at glass,
Mm-hmm.
and he was looking down the scope, but you could actually see like a little bit of light coming through the scope, and it was like super small. And I'm like, that's really accurate. I really like that, and it's you don't really see that too much in sniper movies.
Mm-hmm.
So talking about the little bit of light going through the scope and whatnot. I mean, I agree with you. I think that this movie. So the critics really shot this movie to shit. Like I looked real quick at the critics score, and I typically don't do that, but for some reason, I was like, well, what did they say? I'm curious. They killed this movie. Mm-hmm. They thought it was awful. And I'm like, wait a minute. And when I watch it, I'm like, okay, it may not be 100% historically accurate. I do know that they fucked around with the history a little bit. But the sniper scenes and stuff, I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. I mean, it's entertaining. It's nothing that I'm like, watch this if you want to learn how to do it. It's not that.
If I'm going to go to watch a historical accurate movie, I'm going to go watch like Patton.
Exactly.
Or, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or Churchill.
This is more just interesting. So I went out real quick and got 2 M9130 sniper rifles that I happen to have. They're 2 Mosin Nagant, the M9130s, which are the rifle that Ron Perlman, who's in this movie, and Jude Law, etc. This is the guns that they shot in the movie.
Oh, so that's the actual one, huh?
Well, they're not the actual ones, but they're the model, yes.
Yeah.
Wow. These are the M9130s. And the ones I have here are actually Russian as well. So these are 2 Russian sniper rifles that I just brought in for the guys to play with a little bit here.
And it actually has the star, 1940.
It does. It is Russian starred, yes.
Holy cow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Way to go.
So these could have been in the hands of a Vasily Zaitsev. You never know. But yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm actually really... Wait, is this Now the barrel is probably Russian, but the stock and the
So the
bottom,
one you're holding
the
right
lower-
now, the barrel and the receiver,
Yeah.
are all the Russian Masanagan. The stock is an Archangel aftermarket kit.
Right.
Now the one he's got over there, that stock is actually custom made, and is wood, obviously, with the cut through and stuff like that. That would have been like a field kit that they would have put onto it, which in some of the movie in Enemy at the Gates, Justin, you can see modifications that Vasily's doing to his rifle as they go through, which is the shit I noticed that I'm like, that's awesome. Like they're actually noticing like that the snipers were given basic kit, but then they did things to upgrade and to kind of change things to make it more theirs, to feel more comfortable, to be better, etc.
Right.
This is something they could have done, is basically take their regular 9130 and remounted it into different stock to be able to provide more grip or better grip, etc. So yeah,
One thing I did notice
I
was
like the wood one
was why didn't Jude Law's character upgrade the scope?
because it wasn't available to upgrade.
What do you mean? It wasn't around at the time, 1942?
Yeah, and actually, the scope that he uses was actually an anachronism. It was actually like a 1948 scope, I think, is what was on his rifle, and that wouldn't have been available in the years that he was doing it. Now, Ed Harris's gun, the German rifle that he's using, is historically accurate, and the scope, I mean, you could just tell the scopes were fucking like just incredibly better design. They had better glass. I mean, it was just a better scope all around and a better gun all around, believe it or not.
Well, when you take over half the world.
Well, yeah, and whenever you're known for precision, like when
Right.
you're like stereotype is like, oh well, I bet you're really good at building things and you're really precise. Yeah, and like, yes, we are. Like, and we will now take over the world.
Ja.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So since we were talking about actors, we talked a little bit about Ed Harris, right? Let's talk about some of the other cast members here. Like Jude Law. I really
Yes.
like Jude Law in this movie.
Yeah, I don't like Jude Law typically. He's very effeminate to me, and it's hard for me to like. Whenever I first saw this movie in 2001, I remember it came out in 2001, right? Yeah. Okay. Thanks. I remember going, "Oh shit, it's Jude Law." I'm like, he looks like a girl. He just is too pretty. But they let him age in this movie in a way and fall apart in the movie in this way that I was actually surprised. I remember being surprised in general with Jude Law. Remember, this is the guy who did Alfie. Right, a movie about like a metrosexual who rides a Vespa around New York City. Like these two things don't seem to go together as far as acting or as far as what you would assume this actor would do. But in this movie, they let him kind of decay to an extent that I don't know. It makes it very
It's
very
war.
watchable. Yeah, it makes it very watchable though too. They could have done it a different way. They could have gone the way of Hart's War with Bruce Willis and Josh Hartnett. Everybody in that movie, they're POWs, and they all look very well fed, very pristine. They're washed every day. Bruce Willis's damn jacket is pressed in scenes. I'm like, oh yeah, they had a press in the POW camp, did they? Interesting. Very very accommodating, those Germans. Jesus.
Light starch, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very very weird movie in that regard. But
And I would like it available at 9 a.m. Thank you.
But that's where I was surprised to see that the critics were so hard on this one, because I was like, there's other World War II movies that take a dump compared to like this. They get gritty. Like we were talking about Rachel Weisz, right? Rachel Weisz, very beautiful girl. But in this movie, or woman, I should say, in this movie, they let her become, pretty rough looking. I mean, they all start to fall apart. At the beginning, Joseph Fiennes, bright-eyed, his glasses, oh, my glasses got broken. And by the end, he looks like he's coming out of one of the concentration camps. He weighs at least
He looks
20
really
pounds
gaunt.
less. Yeah, he's got the big pink black circles around his eyes and shit. I mean, he looks rough. They all seem to go down that trail of just hey, it's actually war.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that about the movie. I don't know, that's why I was surprised. I was just very surprised to see them beat up on it like they did. But that's my take on it.
One of the breakout actors of this, I think, was Sasha too.
Oh, the kid.
The kid.
Oh yeah.
What else has he been in?
I was just gonna look that up. While I'm looking that up, though, the comment I was gonna make was we were talking about in the Shootist, our last episode, Ron Howard having to play a kid who was starstruck, who wanted to be like the Shootist and all. Sasha plays basically that same character here.
Yes.
And I couldn't help but think of those two parallels, and I'm thinking this. What was he, like 9 maybe?
I'd say he's 12, maybe 10, 12 is
10,
my guess.
okay,
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
12, somewhere around there. This kid played that character better than Ron Howard did in the shootist.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
agree.
he's
I
far
agree.
less annoying.
Yeah.
Like when the kid gets hung by Ed Harris, I'm like, oh, that sucks. You know, I mean, granted, I've seen it 50 times now, so I'm like, oh, he's gonna get hung here in a second. But that being said, I mean, you definitely have more of a connection to him than I did to Ron Howard. You know, and the fact that he was a 10, 12-year-old kid. I mean, even in the war, he's supposed to be 10 or 12. The fact that he is basically playing the role of a child soldier, child spy. You know, he's being a double agent for both the Germans and the Russians. The Germans think that they're giving Ed Harris in particular thinks he's giving them good advice or good intel on where Vasily will be. Meanwhile, he's actually feeding the real intel to about Ed Harris's character to the Russians. You know, to do all that as a little kid. You know, pretty ballsy little kid. So, I mean, you know, the fact that he is able to maintain this sort of childlike spark, and that's really shown through his admiration and
dedication
to Vasily. You know what I mean? That's really the only time you see him act like a kid. Other than that, he's a little spy.
Yeah.
You know, that's basically what he's doing.
Yeah, his the actor's real name is Gabriel Thompson. He was born in 1986. So this was in 2001, so that would be like 15?
1986?
Yeah.
You're right, 15.
Yeah.
My fault.
He'd be like 15.
I sucks at maths. So, yeah, so he's, Jesus, he didn't look 15.
Well,
No.
remember, you know, year of filming, year of editing or so, you know.
Okay,
you
so
could
let's
say
say
he's
he
like
was
13 or 14 at the time of filming.
Okay, maybe even 12 if they held it over for a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe I was dead on with the 12 thing then. He looks small, but I mean, they always go for small actors.
Yeah.
I mean, they want somebody who's in their mind the right age to be able to remember a shit ton of lines and act the right way, but their body can look small.
Yeah.
Kirsten Dunst in Interview with a Vampire is that way. You know, like she looks like she's like 10. But in
Yeah.
that movie she's like 15.
Right.
You know, she's just
Yeah.
is little.
He
She's a
was
little girl.
in 1999, he was in the TV movie Great Expectations.
Okay.
And then he did a few other things. Then Enemy at the Gates of 2001. Then he didn't work until 2010. So like 9 years.
He probably had to go to school.
And he was
Yeah.
maybe, I guess.
His parents were like, listen, you made good money, okay? You made good money with the Enemy at the Gates. It's perfect. Now go to school, become doctor.
He's British.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Listen here, old boy, okay? You made good money with that there Enemy at the Gates.
But
I don't know which impression was worse. Go ahead.
both.
Both were quite awful.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
But the scene that made me think all this was when Ed Harris comes down the stairs and he was shot by Vasily, in the hand, in the
Yeah.
knuckle, and they do a shot where Sasha sees that, and Ed Harris comes down the stairs and he goes, well, my little Sasha, or whatever it says, he knew exactly where to find me, and the reaction shot of Sasha is super good because he gives just this little hint of a smirk that, okay, my guy got you a little bit, kind of thing. And that was the shot that made me go, all right, this kid's good.
Yeah.
Now, they wrote it very well with this character because in the first part, it seemed like he wasn't giving any information to the Russians. And it seemed like it was just all one way towards the Germans. He was actually getting paid with, food and chocolate and stuff like that. So he was like, okay, I'm going to actually give you information. And towards the end, it was the opposite. He was actually giving more information to the Russians.
He was a double agent.
Well,
Yeah.
see, so when I watched this the first time especially, I questioned whether that was on purpose. Because it seemed
Right.
like maybe there was a scene missing or something. Like there was some disconnect where you're left questioning whether or not he's on the right side. And I agree that if they did it purposely, well done.
Sure.
But then I would question, why is that in a drama? This isn't a thriller. It's not something where you want this this air of ambiguity, resulting or in terms of specific characters. Why would you want them to be? Why would you want the audience to be unsure as to which side Sasha's playing for? So if it was done purposely, I agree it was done well. If
Yeah.
it was done not purposely, then it's just it's a flaw.
To do the Shyamalan twist.
Maybe, but why do that not in a thriller? Because this is an action war movie. It's not maybe a drama, but it's not a thriller.
They had to make Sasha likable to the audience, so the impact
Okay.
of his death, yeah.
of his death would hit you hard. Which the first time I watched it, yeah, it really did.
Yeah. Well, he does a good job of I'm with Justin. He does a good job of selling it. I think they all kind of do, though. I even like Ron Perlman in the movie.
I know.
Like Ron.
He shows up for like 10 minutes and then
I know. I was so disappointed.
But see, I love his telling of how he lost his teeth.
That was a good story.
Is awesome.
very charismatic. Yeah.
It's so awesome. He's like, so I was in Germany whenever everything happened, and then I came back and I went right to the gulag, and they're questioning me like, "Don't lie to us, you German dog. Why were you over there? Why?" And he's like, "Well, my brother, our comrade Stalin sent to me that don't use his name." He's like, "Tell us the truth, you liar, you traitor." And then bam, bam. I'll tell you this, brothers. There was no sickle, but there was a hammer. It's like, oh,
That's a
shit!
good line.
Like that's so crazy. Yeah,
That's a good line.
It's
That was
so
really good.
awesome. They wrote it well,
Yeah,
man.
Then he flashes his silver teeth.
Yeah, which I kind of want. I got to be honest. It's a little bit. What was the name of that band that the lead singer used to have the mouthful of silver teeth? It was like a butt rock band. Can't remember the name of them. Doesn't matter.
Every rapper nowadays.
Yeah, that too. But it looks good on Ron Perlman. He makes him look much more badass than the 10 minutes he gets to be in the movie. Did you find, by the way, that the one character? Okay, so he ends up they're killing telephone guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're killing telephone guys for the Germans, and he kills one, and then he's like, "It's time for lunch, isn't it?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hey, how's that soup coming?
It's soup time. Yeah.
Soup time, yeah.
And the guy that's with them, he has to leave for some reason. He has to go out for some reason, and he never comes back, and they don't seem to even notice.
Right.
So again, back to if it was on purpose, okay, but why? And then the question is it a flaw? So I wondered if maybe it's war and people don't come back all the time. So maybe they were just like, oh, I guess he didn't come back.
Or he's just taking a long time with the soup.
That's what I assumed.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, but it's enough time for them to relocate and leave. It's later on in the day. It's actually not like 2 minutes later. It's like a long time later.
Yeah.
So that's why because he had enough time to be captured and then redressed up in the telephone and then questioned and then put down on the line as a telephone guy to then be killed by Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
All of those things took place. So he's been gone for like a few hours.
I did notice that the soup guy.
Yeah.
That's all I know about.
Me too. I don't know what his name was. Yeah.
But when they were in their first location, he was making the soup.
Yes.
And then when they had to leave, he was like, "Oh, well, let me grab the soup," and it was hot.
Yes.
And he left it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he was going back to their previous location. We don't know how long of a distance that was between the first location.
Time is an issue in this movie.
Yeah.
Time is all over the place in this movie. It's been like, believe it or not, this movie takes place over like 2.5 years is how long this movie takes place.
I think it's only like 1 year.
It's a year. Yeah, I think it started in 42.
Starts in 42 and ends in
43.
January 43.
Is it
Something
really?
like
I thought
that.
it was longer than that.
No, it starts out like September 22nd or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
42.
It's not that long of a timeline.
Oh shit! So yeah, I didn't notice the dates. All those times I watched the fucking movie. That's weird. Okay, so but time in particular in terms of people like face to face is a problem because again I didn't notice the soup thing, and for me I just assumed he's been gone for hours, and that
And
they
he
don't
could
notice is weird.
Yeah,
I
and
just
it could
find
have
it
been.
strange because again they relocate. He's not with them, and you never hear them talk about it. He doesn't. Hey, what happened to Soup Guy? Nothing. Like he
Yeah,
doesn't
but
even.
at the same time, though, did he actually look like he was part of that crew?
Well, no, he was a what do you guys call him? Red shirts off of Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He's a red shirt.
Yeah,
he
he's
was
like a newbie, He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're the snipers, We're the ones that you just hold the helmet up and lure them out, and we'll pop them off.
Ron Perlman even did that actually.
Yeah.
The Soup Guy didn't even hold the helmet up.
Yeah.
Like, that's how bad
Well,
he
that
was.
was when he was missing.
Yes, you're right.
He was
yeah.
ammo soup guy.
Yeah, that's
you
it.
carry the ammo, you carry the soup.
Well, the two people that Vasily starts out with, the Asian looking guy and the Russian girl, who get killed off pretty quickly, they seem to have spent much more time together.
Yeah.
But even then, they're disposable. I mean, they're pretty much in and out.
That scene to me was weird.
Which part? What about it?
I thought that, when I first watched this movie, and even like in the second time, that I thought that this was all an act. Like,
Okay.
they're out there and they're actually like, going along with it, and they're like, okay, he's the best sniper in the world, and so we're gonna plant a German person or like a dead actually like a doll or something like that with a sniper rifle, and then he's gonna go out and we're gonna do all these cool moves, and he's gonna shoot and he's gonna kill, and it's like the helmet's gonna fly off, and then they're gonna go recover this dog tag, but the dog tag was on another German guy that was dead a long time ago.
Yeah.
But it was a certified kill. So I don't know if it just like if it played along with the story
So
that he was this the greatest sniper.
no, what I think it is this kind of goes back to the shootist in some ways, and it goes back to. Do you ever see the movie The Patriot?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, this time in history, there weren't a lot of snipers. There wasn't like it was a new art in a lot of ways. So the Ed Harris character, he runs the sniper school in Germany. They're kind of at like the cutting edge of a lot of different techniques, right?
Yeah.
So what Vasily and his buddies have been doing is they learned from a bunch of like kind of old school sniper thing. And when I say old school, I mean like the elementary type stuff.
Yeah.
So whenever they're doing like the raising the helmet and all that stuff actually does trick people who don't know what the hell they're doing. But for Ed Harris, he just kind of gives us like these fucking amateurs.
Well,
like
remember-
just smile, you know what I mean? He
Remember,
gives us-
Ron Perlman studied under
him, which
so
is,
he knows everything that he's doing.
Exactly. And that's why whenever he did the helmet thing, I questioned that part in particular with Ron Perlman, because I was like, well, if he knows Ed Harris is going to laugh at this the way that we saw him laugh at it with the Asian guy and the Russian girl, then I'm wondering, okay, well, why would he continue to do that? You know what I mean? But
My thoughts on that were that they were seeing if he was there. They knew somebody was there,
okay.
but I don't think they knew it was him.
They didn't know it was Major Koenig yet.
And that's a way to
Exactly.
tell whether he
Gotcha.
shoots or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, going back to the two lovebirds, I don't
Yes.
even know if we know their names.
We do, but I don't know. I don't remember it.
I actually think it's kind of important that they're there and that we know that they're in love and all, because I think it foreshadows Vasily and Rachel Weisz, whatever her, Tanya.
Tanya. Yeah.
There you go.
I think it foreshadows them falling in love and what their potential outcome of this war could be. You know,
Yeah.
because they're two snipers. You know, Jude Law and Rachel Weisz are two snipers. You know, so it's like a parallel
Nice.
that they were drawing.
No, that makes sense. It also makes sense for them to bring love into war at all, like to introduce it a little bit and kind of show like, no, people actually do have relationships. Like, you know, bring us to the sex scene actually with Jude Law and
The
Rachel Weisz.
awkward sex scene.
Very awkward. You know that it had to happen.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, like, I mean, especially with the Russians, I mean, it was male and female fighters. It wasn't just male fighters and then females were like nurses and stuff like that. Like, there were male and female fighters on the Russian side. So they were oftentimes doing exactly what we see them doing in the scene, where they're all kind of living in general quarters. And yeah, the men, I think out of a traditional sense, I don't know if it was mandated that they couldn't sleep next to the women, but I think it was more of like yeah, we're all brothers and sisters now, but I mean, we're not going to be indecent, are we? Like, I mean, we're like, we're still a little bit traditional here, guys. So they separated themselves, but you know that you ended up basically in a true voyeur exhibitionist type style, having sex with, you know, around 50 of your closest friends right there.
Well,
and it's so weird the way they do it.
Well, especially because that one scene when I think the scene right before they have sex, you know, they're having that party in
Yes.
that sniper hut or whatever of all the
Yeah.
other sniper division. And Vasily makes a comment that even just a little bit of tea or a cigarette is a big deal because it might be your last.
Yes.
Yep.
And then that's what sets up the whole sex scene thing, which I think is a little gratuitous in this movie.
The sex scene?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think so.
I wouldn't edit much of this movie, but I would edit that down.
Which
I
part?
don't think I would cut it out completely.
Rachel Weisz's ass?
No, that would I
Or-
keep in.
Okay. You kept that in. Okay.
Or at least in my private collection.
I hate to see your editing floor, if you know what I mean.
I did agree. I do agree with that. The scene did go on for a little bit longer than needed. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, okay, we get it. You know, you guys are, you know, having it out, but I don't know if it really needed like the whole scene.
So I think they did it for a purpose. But John, what did you think?
No, I agree with that too. That the scene was a little long. I would take the added step of removing the quasi love triangle aspect of the romance as well. I think it's not really needed for the film unless it actually happened in real life, which I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I kind of agree that okay. Let me come back to the Joseph Fiennes thing. Let me come back to that real fast. The love scene in particular, the sex scene. The thing I liked about it was it was a little bit long, but I think that added to the awkwardness, but between them,
Right.
like they're trying to have sex, and she keeps bumping asses with the guy that's sleeping behind her. He's looking at people walk by.
Yeah.
He's trying to make sure she doesn't make any sound. She's trying to make sure he doesn't get crazy at the same time. He's got this bloody riddled hand that's all chewed up from the cold and from going over shrapnel, and
nails are black.
Nails are black, and that's pressing up against the wall to get any kind of leverage to do his deal. I thought it was. I mean, to me, it was like, okay, it had to be tough. Like, it just had to be tough back in the day. You know what I mean? Like during this war in particular, there were Russian soldiers, male and female, having sex together. That had to be difficult for them to be able to do it. I think they showcased that well. Now, talking about the love triangle, I do think that's a bit of Hollywooden. I don't know that to be a true story. I know I did look up some of the stories of Vasily 10 years ago, but the Joseph Fiennes thing, I believe, is just made up. The reason I think they added it was because there was a commissar that did take Vasily under his wing, kind of thing, and basically make him who he was. Like, the reason why he got the Order of Lenin and all that was because he was being politicized.
Yeah,
So
I'm not saying take the Joseph Fiennes character out completely.
You're
I'm
just saying the
I'm just
love
saying
thing,
take
yeah.
care of the to take the love
Yeah,
portion where he falls in love with Rachel Weisz.
yeah.
It's like, I don't really think it's needed.
I'm kind of wondering if it's a little bit deeper situation. Like, think about how the Russians treat their soldiers. Mm-hmm. Like, if you retreat, we're just going to kill you.
Yeah.
You're not worth anything to us. We're not going to love you. Well, and he was thrown into that. So maybe, like, he wasn't feeling the love from Russia, so he needed some love himself, from other sources.
Well, if you look at the speech he gives at the end, right before he kills himself, right before he says, let me show you where Major Koenig is, he says, basically, he's like, this war, this is not going the way that I think that it will be. We're going to lose ourselves in order to be this new world, etc. Like, he has this little speech that he gives. I think that there's probably some truth to what you're saying with that.
I was talking about Jude Law's character.
Oh shit! Well, I thought you meant
No.
Joseph Fiennes, because
No.
Joseph Fiennes kind of does allude to that. Believe it or not,
Jude Law's, when at the very opening of the movie, he's thrown into war without a rifle,
Okay.
and they're like, don't retreat, we're gonna shoot you and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. So he's don't go off the boat, and he saw his commanding officers shoot people that were jumping off the boat.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's absolutely no love for your fellow man when it comes to that, when it comes to war. Mm-hmm. So, like, in this scene, or in this movie, he needs to actually have that love or something, because he's definitely not feeling it from the higher-ups.
I don't know.
I just remember thinking when she put her hand down his pants, like, that's got to be a cold hand.
I thought
Yeah,
that too.
well, that too, yeah.
Yeah, there is that. And but what I liked about so talking about the makeup real fast, because you're talking about her hand and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Her hand was chewed up as shit too. They paid a lot of attention, in my mind. They paid a lot of attention to building this world out in a believable way. Like,
Yeah.
when the rubble scenes, the just the amount of dirtiness that seems to be around, the clothes that they're wearing, etc. Nothing appears to be. I mean, I'm not gonna say Schindler's List level, but it's close.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It took them 5 months just to build Stalingrad.
No,
And they
no
built
kidding.
it in Germany, the
Wow.
set. And then it took an extra 5 months for 300 people to build the prosthetic dead bodies in a
Wow.
bunch of the scenes.
Wow.
that
How's
they
that for
used.
irony, by the way? They built Stalingrad in Germany.
I know,
where,
yeah.
they were the ones responsible.
And if I'm not mistaken, at least up until 2001, it was the Enemy at the Gates was the most expensive war film
Oh, no kidding.
because of that. They built everything you saw was built
So it was more expensive than Schindler's List?
from my understanding.
Wow. Okay.
British film.
Yeah, most expensive British film.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah,
And apparently there were like so many extras on set that they were getting mixed up with stuntmen, and they were actually stepping on plates, like pressure plates, to blow up, charges and stuff. The extras were, instead of the stuntmen.
Oh, geez.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah. So yeah, it was a little dangerous of a set, I would say, because they had so many people out
Well,
there.
there's not a lot of CGI in this movie, right?
No,
not that I
hardly.
know of.
Yeah.
Hardly any. So, I mean, all like the Battle of Stalingrad at the beginning, I mean, that's all people like in boats and on the docks and all that kind of stuff, right?
It's most likely practical. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. I don't know. Like I said, the people, the critics who beat up on this movie, I don't know 100% why. The love part, I can kind of agree with, but I think the love part between him and Rachel Weisz, the thing that I like about it is that it does humanize him a little bit, and it does make the movie. It gives the movie another element. That being said, I wouldn't have minded this movie just being a straight. Here was this guy. He was a sniper. Here are the most like the 5 or 6 most famous battles that he had. I would have still been interested.
Yeah, and I think if you would have cut out all the love scenes, actually just cut out Rachel Weisz's character completely.
Yeah.
I think this movie could have held up on its own. Mm-hmm. I really do, because I mean it's 2 hours and 11 minutes. It's a really long movie, so you could cut some of the fat and have it just what the synopsis says. A German and a Russian sniper go head to head.
Yeah.
You could actually have that film.
Well, I think they could have spent more time on some of his other shots too, like the ones that got Major Koenig involved could have been the first like 30 or 40 minutes, right? Like you see him line up and he kills one guy and they're like, no, and then the next guy and they're like, damn it, we need someone who goes stop this, and then the next thing you know they get Major Koenig.
Yeah,
that's my Führer voice.
Yeah, they basically just did that through a newspaper montage,
through papers
and film reels and stuff like that.
Yeah,
which was it was interesting.
It's livable.
Yeah, I mean it gets the point across.
Yeah, but it's to me it's also like a cheap way of doing things, and like it's like the thank God we invented the whatever. In movies, it just forces time to travel or to pass.
Well, it shows the importance of propaganda.
Oh yeah, true.
That's true.
In war, because I mean, without that, he would not be the household name. That he became.
Yeah, and it shows Danilov helping him through the press, like you're saying. Yeah.
Well, it shows how much those two guys are tied together. Like
right.
Danilov is sort of threatening Vasily, but at the same time, Bob Hoskins, Khrushchev is like, your fates are tied together. Don't forget that. It's like there's a lot of pressure. Danilov takes on a lot of shit in this movie,
and that's another actor that we neglected to mention earlier is Bob Hoskins.
I was about to say.
Every time I see him in a movie, he's amazing.
How good is Bob Hoskins in this?
Awesome.
I like him.
Yeah, he's just charismatic.
Come here, look at the boss.
Yeah.
Look at the boss.
Yeah, he's looking at you.
He's looking at you.
I like how they called him the boss.
He's the only one who does it. He's the only guy who calls him the boss the whole damn movie. He calls him the boss. It's so funny.
Well, he probably, I mean, Khrushchev reported directly to Stalin, right?
Yes.
So, yeah,
it's his boss.
It's his boss.
Yeah. Did you guys notice though? This kind of irked me, and I like German movies and I like war movies and stuff like that. The salutes when Ed Harris comes into the headquarters or whatnot,
his superior.
Yeah, they didn't do the Nazi salute. They
Yeah,
did the
that's true.
Americanized salute.
I didn't.
did they?
I didn't
Yes.
recognize that. You're
Jesus.
right.
Because right when Ed Harris did the American salute, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You don't salute him. You salute Hitler.
I wonder if, and I'm just ballparking here. What was the salute? What was the salute under the Weimar Republic in World War I for Germany? What did they do?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
I thought it was an actual, maybe a fist or something.
I don't know, because if it was closer to the American salute, I wonder if Ed Harris's
the
Major
old guard.
I wonder if Major Koenig was just part of the old guard and he was sort of thumbing his nose a little bit, because that's one thing you don't see him as. He's not a zealot.
Right.
He's a sniper, but he's not a zealot. The whole talk with Sasha is about how we're enemies. I know you understand. He lost his son in Stalingrad. He's pissed about it, but he's not like bloodthirsty. He doesn't have bloodlust. He's just kind of like, well, this is what I'm here to do. I'm told to kill this guy.
I'm here to do this one job.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if maybe that was them sort of pointing out that maybe Major Koenig was not ardent Nazi. He was part of the military, but he wasn't a Nazi necessarily.
That's a good point. That'd be something I'd be curious to know about.
Yeah. I would love to know more about that feud, to be honest, or just I don't know. I have a thing. I mean, obviously, I have a thing for snipers. As I'm sitting here with two big ass rifles next to us.
Right.
Something I read about this was that there is no account of a Major Koenig existing.
Supposedly there's an account of Koenig existing in the German army, but not that he was ever in Russia or that Vasily killed him.
Okay.
So the thing is that they believe, because Vasily, supposedly there is a story attached to Vasily Zaitsev, but it's not this story, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a weird. He was famous for a lot of shit. He did, win the Order of Lenin multiple times. All of that is true, but the notion that he killed this one famous sniper named whatever. It doesn't have to be Conan, but name whatever. That part is gray.
Okay.
That part's like, they're not quite sure if that took place.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
It does look like in World War One they actually did like the open hand.
The open, closer to being the American salute. Yeah,
but the American salute's more like the palm of the
Horizontal.
hands facing down.
Yes.
And your fingertips are at your eyebrow. But this one, the World War One salute was almost like an open hand, like your palm of your hand.
The British.
The current British salute.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So I wonder if maybe that was a mess up.
However,
at Harris,
the other guy, the commanding officer that Ed Harris was saluted back the same way. So I'm thinking that was just I think an oversight.
It could be an oversight. I'm not denying that whatsoever. Yeah. Again, the older guy too was older, so I mean it's.
Oh,
I don't know.
Could have been like childhood friends or something like that.
And they're both saying fuck Hitler, but here we are fighting this war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because they were like, this town's rebel. Like,
yes.
Why the hell does he need this? And it was a personal vendetta. Plus,
exactly.
Yeah. It was a trade route for oil. So it was definitely needed to keep the heavy machinery running in German's armory.
Talking about the town being rubble and stuff, I love Bob Hoskins. Whenever we first get introduced to him, and he gets he has the general or whatever kill himself, and then he steps out and he was like, "This isn't." He starts naming off cities. This isn't Kiev. This isn't all these,
or whatever. Not Pripyat. It's the same. But
yeah, and then he's like, "This is Stalingrad." Stalingrad.
Yeah.
He's like, "This place bears the name of the boss."
Yeah.
And he's like,
boss.
I was like,
okay, so did you guys notice the jump cut? There was a jump cut, and it was blatant.
The one with Stalingrad right there.
Yeah, no.
That one's pretty noticeable.
Well,
Where was it?
There was one that I think it was when Jude Law was hiding amongst all the people, when he was like in the prone position, I guess, and he was like looking up towards to where Ed Harris is supposed to go up the
When they think
the
Vasily's
yellow
dead.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that scene when it was like a battle scene or something like that happened during the standoff with with Jude Law and Ed Harris. And that's when he like fell asleep. And this battle, right when they came out from underneath the trains, and they came, the camera angle was behind them, and the people were running away from it. There was a jump cut there.
No, I didn't notice it.
I didn't notice.
Yeah,
that.
it. I was like, wait a minute, was that a jump cut? Because I saw like one person go from the left to the right, like
really?
within a frame, and I'm like, whoa. So
That's
I
crazy.
I rewound it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a jump cut.
They just hit it in the fact that it's war. War's a damn thing. Teleportation. You got to deal with all kinds of shit, Kyle.
Hey, the Germans were
They were trying the
they
bell.
were trying
the
to do
Nazi-
all kinds of things.
The Nazi bell.
They were pretty close.
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't notice stuff like that. To be honest with you, there could have been 50 jump cuts during the Battle of Stalingrad. It's so like vast, that scene that they show. It's such a wide shot. I wouldn't have noticed. It's just difficult.
And I like that they started the movie as chaotic as the war is, with Vasily going through the motions and all. Because then when it slows down to him being a sniper, that the tone changes of the movie, and it's more akin to the sniper lifestyle versus the infantrymen.
Well, see,
Yes.
and I like the very beginning, whenever we see him with his grandfather and stuff, and you assume he was like a crack shot, like as a young age. I mean, he was built for it, which is the propaganda part.
Yep.
But what you find out later on is that he actually missed the shot, and the wolf killed the horse, and the grandfather had to kill the wolf. But on the train, whenever he's kind of going through that thought, and he's on his way, and they see Rachel Rice, etc., and they stop to let off all the citizens. And then the rest of the military gets on, and they change out the train and stuff, and it becomes a military train. It's sort of like,
That was crazy.
well, it's sort of like, okay, well, we're going to start this movie out. You're starting out with like a normal person, hey, I was David Copperfield. I was born, I grew up, that kind of thing. And then it goes into, but now we're headed to war. He's headed to war. We're headed to war as an audience. And then you sort of descend into this war with him on the train. I just think it was a cool way to begin the movie.
That train
You know what
was
I mean?
ridiculous.
Yeah, they back up that
I
giant
love that
locomotive, and
Yeah.
then they put on that anti-air gun or whatever that's on the front of it.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
They locked See, this is what's crazy about the Russians is if you betrayed them in any sense, if you retreated, you're gone. So it's like they locked the train cars, and here I thought that at the very beginning of the movie, I thought that they were like being held captive, which they actually were.
Yeah, so they wouldn't jump off.
Yeah.
Why they didn't jump off before they were locked, I don't know. But,
Exactly. Yeah. When it was a civilian train, why didn't they jump off then?
right. But I do like anybody else feel that even though that this movie 95% was shot in one location, that it feels like an epic.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
it feels so big.
It feels like there's a lot of locations utilized, but
Yeah.
it's one town.
It's probably the same 5 blocks. That movie, you know. It's the same with American Sniper. American Sniper feels like it takes place in multiple cities and stuff like that. They were in Morocco, and they were basically within, I believe it was eight blocks, I think is what that movie was primarily shot in, and they were there a total of like 6 weeks. And that's
Wow.
it. That whole movie, all those different, breaking into houses, the scene where the butcher comes out and drills the little kid's head and all that in American Sniper.
Yes.
That happens in the exact same block that the woman is throwing the grenade at the very beginning. I mean, it's all done on the same streets. It's just done with different lighting, different times of day, and then basically slightly different angles. So you can't ever pick up on, is that the same Jeep from earlier?
Right, yeah.
Like you don't notice, you know.
Well, what I was getting at was that we know that it is in the same it's in the same city.
Yeah.
But it feels bigger than what
Well, it feels grand.
what it is. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. It feels completely grand. Like that's what
They
I'm
do a
saying.
good job.
Well, it's movie tricks. Like they do a great job with that.
Yeah, I mean, with the factories and the chemical factory, and then the department store. I love all the department store scenes.
Yeah.
You know, with using the glass and then the slatted loo, or not loo, the whatever it's called,
Louvers.
the louver or whatever. Yeah.
I love the
Maneuvers.
when they were in the department store looking for the kill, and then Ed Harris is actually still there. Then when the bombers were coming in,
Yeah.
that was a tense scene. I was like, my heart was racing. I was like, holy crap, they're gonna get killed. Like,
Yeah.
the bomb, and they can see there's like a huge hole in this wall, and she's just seeing all these bombers coming, and she's like, we're gonna die if we stay here. We gotta go.
Yeah.
And yeah, she ended up dying because she
Well,
left.
That's what I think lends to what John's saying too. Is they did a lot with what little they had, like in terms of space. Like
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think they managed to build a whole city out of a realistic 2 blocks or 3 blocks, but they built this entire, like, you don't recognize it, and it's the addition of and subtraction of bricks. You know what I mean? Like bricks and bodies. That's really what it is.
A cunning use of bricks.
Yeah, and a little. But that's what I was saying. The movie tricks. The little Nettie Needlelander.
So
movie tricks.
I found a nice little summary about the whole duel between the two actual
Okay.
historical figures.
Okay.
All right. So says the duel between Zaitsev and Koenig is partially based on records made by Zaitsev himself. The rifle scope taken from the killed German snipers now at the Central Army Museum in Moscow, Russia. The German who was shot in the duel was SS sniper Colonel Heinz Thorvald.
There we go. Okay.
The Germans claimed someone else named Koenig had been shot in the duel and not Thorvald because they didn't want to admit their ace was shot down. This was claimed by Zaitsev, who also found the papers on the body identifying him as Thorvald.
Well, and both sides would benefit from lying,
Right.
in this. I mean, you had the Russians being like, "We killed your ace," and the Germans like, "No, you didn't." So I mean,
We killed your ace.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he's still alive. Yes.
So, well, let's talk numbers then, because I think we've kind of exhausted enough about Enemy at the Gates. I think we all thoroughly enjoyed it. So.
Yes.
I think John liked it a lot. He looks like somebody who enjoyed this movie.
I liked it.
I get that look on your face, like it's gonna be a good score. Go ahead.
So the budget. I actually do have a budget this time. It's the first movie in season 2 that has a budget listed in IMDb.
It's only episode 3. Right?
I know, but it's like, at random, we pick these movies. It's just like, what are the odds of the first 2 movies not having a budget? But,
I'm with you.
Right.
Oh, so yeah, budget. What do you think this costs to make?
I mean, because of what John said earlier, that this was one of the largest budgeted films in history for the British up till 2001, it's got to be pretty massive, right?
Wait, is this in dollars?
This is in dollars,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't know if I have to do euros
And
or
it's estimated.
pounds or.
No, I'll always convert those to dollars. So
Okay.
I don't know. I'll go just because of the scale that we've been talking about this movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 125 million.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with 100 million.
100 million? Okay.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take the high at 135, Bob.
Okay, well, John's the closest. It was actually $68 million.
Holy
Oh, wow.
shit!
Really?
They did a lot.
That was a lot less than
Wait.
what I thought it was gonna be.
So they built it in Germany, though, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Well, never mind. I was gonna say, like, if they built it in like Poland or something, maybe they just took advantage of cheap labor, and they were like, "We can save money." And Jude Law's meanwhile was like, "Great, more pay for me." Like,
Yeah, right. $68 million was the budget. Now, I'm just gonna go. I'll tell you the opening weekend.
Mhm.
The opening weekend did not very well. It was 13,800,000.
Really?
That's not too bad.
But the cumulative worldwide gross, so like all time money made worldwide.
I mean, I feel like this is a hit with audiences. 150 million. I don't know. Yeah.
John, don't forget
That was me
give us
foaming
a-
at the mouth at the thinking of having $150 million.
Right? That'd be nice.
I'm gonna stick with 100 million.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to take the low at 75.
All right, well, John was the closest.
Jesus.
$96.9 million.
Wow.
Cumulative worldwide.
Well, they
gross.
made some money then.
Yeah.
They made more than
And the gross USA, just in the US, was 51.4. So didn't quite make their money back in the US, but over worldwide, they made their money back.
Yeah.
I feel like they should have made more than, what was that, like $7 million?
No, they made like
Profit?
30, almost 30.
Oh, okay.
28, right? Because it was 68.
68 and 96, yeah.
Oh,
so,
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I personally think that it's worth more than that, but I mean,
So do I.
audiences have spoken.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Well, speaking of audience, what do we think that the audience rated Enemy at the Gates?
So this I don't know. I did the critic score. I don't know about the audience score. So, John, Kyle,
I'm going to say the audience rated this a 79%.
okay.
Darn you. I'll 75.
And
I'm gonna for the audience score. I'm gonna go 73 and hopefully steal it from John.
You would go 70.
I am. I'm
wouldn't
gonna
you?
steal it from John.
82.
All right.
I can't win. I can't win today.
I win.
I have no luck today. Jeez. Okay.
Well, and what do you think that the critics chose?
This I know.
I'd say the critics.
You could win this one.
Yeah, you could be
Actually, I'm probably going to be wrong even if I guess the score I saw, but go ahead.
on the nose. What do we get if we hit it on the nose? Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yay.
Yeah. A
High
crisp-
fives all around.
I was gonna say,
Hearty handshake.
a crisp high five. There you go.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right. So the critics, Rotten Tomatoes, I'm going to go 45%.
Okay.
I'm gonna just take a stab and go 53.
It was 53.
What?
Right on the dot.
Okay.
Wow.
So John's been doing black magic lately.
So
and we don't know
I
how
guess
to tell
we
you
gotta
guys.
give them a crisp high five.
Yeah, good-
high
good-
five. Yeah,
Good
high
job.
Five.
Good job, John.
High fives for all.
Oh, don't ever
Your
do
hands
that.
are clammy.
Don't ever do that
Sorry.
guy's voice for me again, please. I hate that guy.
What's that? Who?
Borat, the Sacha Baron Cohen. Ugh,
Oh no, I was
disgusting.
I was doing my little German. High fives for all.
Well, that's
yes.
what he does. He does the
yeah.
Yeah.
We will do all reviews.
Anyway,
And the interesting thing about this is it was only nominated for one Academy Award.
the best picture.
Sound editing.
Really?
I
Yeah.
could agree on sound editing. I mean that.
I think it should be up for at least a couple more, like maybe best
Supporting.
supporting actor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean-
cinematography. Maybe not best picture. I'd have to go back and look to see what the nominees.
Definitely
for
not
2001.
editing because I did see a jump cut.
What won in 2001 for best picture?
Was that no? Saving Private Ryan was 98.
I was gonna say, man, but
Was that
that is
that
a good
Training Day?
picture.
I don't know. I'm looking. Gladiator.
Gladiator?
Ooh,
Okay, Gladiator's pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Between Gladiator and Enemy at the Gates,
I'd pick Gladiator.
Gladiator.
Yeah, probably Gladiator. I think.
What, are you not entertained?
no, it's not that.
trains?
Are you not into trains?
No, that's funny. No, I'm just thinking in terms of like, okay, in terms of best picture, yes, Gladiator was probably a better movie. In terms of which one I enjoy watching more, I think I enjoy watching Enemy at the Gates more because because it's closer to this modern age. I can get more into it. You know what I mean? I get it. I get to feel like let's get that fucker. Like I get to be a little more into it and I like sniper movies. So I mean
You don't like movies about gladiators?
even Shooter, by the way. Even Shooter with Mark Wahlberg, another sniper movie, which is cheesy as all hell. I still enjoy it. It's a cheesy movie, and I like it.
Now, what about like all the other movies that were competing against?
Oh, I don't know what the other movies.
Yeah, what were some of the other?
So you had Chocolate,
No.
Chocolat.
Chocolat.
Yeah, with Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I hated that.
Johnny Depp as
That
a
was
Frenchman.
Stupid. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
No.
Okay.
No.
Didn't like it.
I didn't like it, but I will say, as far as Best Picture, it was pretty damn impressive.
Aaron Brockovich
Good story.
Yeah,
I
good-
wouldn't say
yeah.
Best Picture.
and Traffic.
Ooh,
Traffic.
no. I didn't like Traffic.
It was okay.
No wonder Gladiator won.
Yeah. I mean, just to think that this now.
I'm actually surprised Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon didn't win.
Now wait a minute though.
This is a solid 2 then, like a solid second of Best Picture nominees
Hang on though.
between Gladiator and
Yeah,
this.
I think that this would
out
have.
of those nominees.
I think that should have made the list. It
Yeah.
didn't. You
I
know
know.
what I mean? Yeah.
Now was this movie? It was released in 2001. So
Yes.
that means it would be in the 2002, right? Is that
Oh,
how they?
that's-
Is that how
Oh
they?
yeah, that's right.
Is that how they label their stuff?
We're a bunch
it
of
depends.
amateurs.
Well, it depends on the
I don't think
the
so.
month that it's released.
Yeah, true. I don't know. You said it won or it was nominated for best sound.
Oh,
editing?
you're right. It is 2002. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
So
Best Picture 2002.
So, what were the best pictures of 2002?
Oh, A Beautiful Mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Another Russell Crowe movie.
That's a pretty hard one to beat.
Yeah.
I would. Okay, between A Beautiful Mind and An Enemy at the Gates, I'd have to say A Beautiful Mind would win.
Mhm.
I like A
Yeah.
Beautiful Mind a lot.
What were some of the other nominees?
Gosford Park,
Nah.
Nah.
In the Bedroom,
Ugh.
Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring,
No.
Nah.
and Moulin Rouge.
Nah. Fuck. Okay.
Ugh.
So to me,
I
my,
get why A
my
Beautiful
personal
Mind
preference
won,
is this is a solid second to Beautiful Mind.
Oh yeah, for sure. For that year, yeah.
Mhm.
And if that's the best they had to pick from, I mean,
So
come
I'm
on.
surprised it didn't make it though.
Yeah, why is it not even on the list?
I don't know.
They didn't kiss the right ass.
Now,
Politicking.
Yep.
now I'm actually
That's
surprised
the better way to say it.
that Pearl Harbor didn't make it in because this was
Man,
also Pearl Harbor was also released in 2001.
This is the movie Pearl Harbor wished it was.
I,
Yes.
I agree with
Yes.
you. Yeah,
Agreed.
Pearl Harbor. You want to talk about focusing on the relationships and stuff? Pearl Harbor focused too much on that, and then they made the other drastic mistake of putting Ben Affleck in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, and it was too clean for me.
I agree.
It was
yeah,
way too crisp
yeah
for
I agree.
being World War II.
A war movie.
A
yeah.
war movie. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's bright and sunny and
Yeah,
we're on vacation.
Yes.
That's how I felt.
It was
We're on vacation.
It was a luau. I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, let's see how Enemy of the Gates ranks on our list.
Okay. Well, kick it off, Justin.
Yeah. So this has always been on the top tier. One of my movies, I guess you could say. Like the rewatchability that I always quote is pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
I know I've only seen it about 6 times or 7 times or whatever I said earlier. But I love the acting. I love the casting of this movie. I just love the story.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I didn't think about it, the Ron Howard and the Sasha parallel until I've seen it shoot us, because I haven't seen it until you picked it, John.
Mm-hmm.
It made the Sasha character pop out even more to me after watching that. So I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
Wow. Okay,
Wow.
that's really high.
Yeah.
All right.
So I like this movie. I do think that it's not without flaws, and I think that overall, I've watched it a ton, so I think that obviously it has a lot of rewatchability. That's not necessarily a score maker for me, but it does have that. I do agree with John. I think that the romance overshadows quite a bit of this, but I don't mind it. You know what I mean? Like, for some reason, there's this element of it feels balanced. It still feels like a war movie. It still feels like a sniper movie that just happens to have this love story in it. It's not like Pearl Harbor, which is about Josh Hartnett and Ben Affleck fighting over a girl for 2 hours, and oh yeah, there's a war.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't feel like that. So I would say that this movie for me is a 6. But that's on my scale, which is probably going to be like a 9 for Kyle and a 12 for John. So we'll see what this looks like in a second.
Not necessarily. I mean, with me, I really did like this movie until the actual love scenes. I mean, I'm not really. I am okay with love scenes being in a movie.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that character dynamic or the character development of like relationships and stuff like that in a movie. I'm not opposed to any of that at all. I mean, I would actually prefer it in some cases, but in this particular movie, it should have been tamed down a little bit,
Or just a war movie.
or just
Yeah.
just be between 2 snipers and we're good.
Yeah.
You know, this is in Stalingrad, so I mean it's hard, and you know, yeah, you need some. I think it's with this movie. I think it's like a, hey, bring your wife to it because she'll have something to watch too. And it's kind of like an excuse of,
That's it.
hey, I want to see you go see a war movie. No, I don't want to go see a war movie. It sucks. It's like, well, it's got a love scene in it. It's got some drama in it. Okay.
You just want to see it because of the love scene.
Yeah, you just want to see her butt. I don't know. But with
It's
this,
very, very pale. That's what I imagine Justin's ass looks like.
it was Stalingrad, so we're not talking about sunny beaches over here.
It's actually the only part that's suntanned on me.
It's so weird. You would tan only your ass. Like that would be what you would do.
I'm actually going to be around Eddie here. I think I'll just 0.1 him up and just do a 6.1.
That's right. Don't you let me be lowest.
That's right.
I like this rule.
John?
I just don't like even scores.
There we go.
Right. Okay, so I always look at Roger Ebert, and he gave this a 3 stars out of 4.
Wow.
Right. He basically likened the film to a duel between opposing ideologies, Marxism and Nazism, and which I can agree with. He really didn't mention the romance too much, other than the fact that it just felt out of place.
Yeah.
And he said that the movie, when it focuses on the chess match between the two snipers, you don't even have to think about the movie.
Right.
You know what's happening, and you get wrapped up in the film. And I agree with all that. I don't say kill all the romance out of it. I just say get rid of the triangle of the love triangle. Mm-hmm. That's my main beef with the film. I think I'm going to give this film a 6.8.
Okay.
Nice.
So with that means that Enemy of the Gates gets a 6.9
Nice.
as an average.
All right.
So that means that it puts it tied for 8th place, I think, between Brooklyn and Stand By Me.
Okay.
Huh. The romance. Brooklyn.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, in the romance, Stand By Me, between Will Wheaton and River Phoenix. Because let's be honest, there was a bromance there that was just It was
kids.
It was undiscovered. That's all I'm gonna say. It was uninvestigated, but it was definitely there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we got a spin for the next week's movie, and the only host left is Eddie.
Well, before we do it too, don't forget to go to patreon.com/Screen Riot and become a patron for the show. We have some benefits on there for basically for patrons only. So if you guys get a chance to check that out, and we have begun to put blog posts up on our website on americanpodcasting.net/Screen Riot. Am I wrong about that? Or is /shows/Screen Riot, right?
Yeah, if you just click on shows and then click on Screen Riot, you'll get to it. Yeah.
Perfect. You can read some of the blog posts and things that I wouldn't say we go much more in depth per se, but we definitely add some different spins and some other things that we do a little bit of investigation and find some stuff on that we add to the blog post. So if you get a chance, check those out as well at americanpodcasting.net.
All right, so I guess we're gonna spin the wheel to see what Eddie's gonna pick.
Yep, here we go.
Yep. Wow. So many genres.
It's the beginning of a season.
Okay. Action adventure.
Ooh,
Okay.
action adventure.
Okay, so I guess since I got action, I guess what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go with a new movie. Let's do Tenet. Tenet 2020, which is a Christopher Nolan movie. It's the story of a guy who has no name. He's the man with no name for 2020, simply known as the protagonist. And he has been approached by a shadowy group who ask him to save the world, and the only thing they really arm him with is one word, Tenet. And other than that, it's basically up to him to figure shit out. That's the synopsis for the movie in a nutshell. And it's if you're getting ready to watch it with us, I will tell you this: it's streaming on quite a few places. You can find it. I know, Justin, what's the list of some places it's streaming?
Justwatch.com. If you go there and search for Tenet, you can see all the places that it's streaming or where you can rent it.
Yeah, and it's great. You can find it there. I'm gonna make a suggestion to you. It's a very complicated movie. have a notepad or something close by. You can do some physics, just in case you need to. But I would definitely keep a close eye on it. This isn't something you can get up and go to the bathroom and just be like, just leave it running. I'll figure it out when I get back.
Yeah.
No, you won't. You will not know what's going on.
And I would suggest watching with subtitles as well.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of mumbling.
Because Christopher Nolan, I don't know what he's doing lately, but
Yeah.
with like Dark Knight Rises and
Yeah.
in this movie, it's some actors are just difficult to hear.
Yeah, subtitles would be a good idea. So yeah, enjoy the movie. It's definitely good, and we'll catch up with you on the next episode as we review Tenet.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.